Have you ever thought about why those endless days seem to start and end on autopilot? The alarm goes off, you drag yourself out of bed, sit at your desk, and try to convince yourself with each repetitive task that it's just another day. And yet deep down, a restless voice keeps asking, is this really all life has to offer? Maybe you've tried to silence that voice, telling yourself everything's fine, but deep down, you know it's not. That disconnect you feel, like you're living in a movie where you're not the main character, it's more than just fatigue. It's a sign, a reminder that you were made for something much bigger. But hang on, I know you've heard empty promises before. Maybe you've even tried to change your life, only to find yourself stuck in the same cycle. The difference here is that we're not talking about some magic solution, but about real transformation. And the best part? It starts with something you already have, your unique talents and purpose, just waiting to be unlocked. You might think this is just cheap motivation talk, but think about it. How many times have you felt like you're just wasting your potential? Picture living a life where each day brings purpose and every task reflects your soul. A life where you're not just working to survive, but to make an impact. Sounds too good to be true? It's not. Trust me, many have made this transition, and you can too. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to break free from this cycle, open up new possibilities, and finally find where you belong. Buckle up, because what you're about to learn could change everything. Yeah, everything. And don't worry, you won't need luck, just courage. Ready to discover why you're feeling this way and how to turn it into your greatest strength? All right, as you already know, this is Andrew Summerham speaking, and I hope you enjoy today's content. Once you're done watching, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback truly matters. It's part of the elevated connection that the elect share. I actually talked about this in the video 12 life-changing gifts you didn't realize you have. Without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. Some people just can't fit into conventional jobs, no matter how hard they try. They feel this constant restlessness, like something's out of place, and it's not a personality flaw or lack of effort. It's a calling. The elect carry a spiritual mission that goes way beyond repetitive tasks or corporate goals. Think about it. Would an inspired artist be satisfied painting only white walls? Similarly, these souls weren't made to reinforce existing structures, but to open doors to what hasn't even been imagined yet. Behind this constant discomfort lies an amazing truth. That feeling of being out of place, it's the universe whispering that your bigger purpose hasn't been fully recognized yet. When someone feels the weight of a suffocating daily routine, it's an invitation to look beyond the obvious. Many find their turning point when they realize their skills, whether it's a strategic mind, sharp empathy, or an unusual vision, weren't designed to operate within common rules, but to revolutionize them. Every sign of frustration is actually a reminder that they're on the path to an extraordinary purpose. The elect are driven by this kind of creative restlessness that turns the ordinary into something magnificent. Imagine trying to trap the wind in a bottle. That's how it feels when you try to squeeze your expansive soul into a tight space. These people don't just feel, but know, deep in their gut, that their mission is to break boundaries. And here's the secret. Often, the first step to unlocking this potential is to stop fighting against the current and start exploring your deepest passions, even when they don't seem to fit into traditional molds. When your mind is overwhelmed by tasks that don't feed your spirit, it's easy to feel drained. But here's the thing. Real exhaustion doesn't come from overwork, but from the disconnect between your soul and your purpose. If you're constantly feeling drained, you need to ask yourself, am I living to meet others' expectations or to fulfill my own vision? This question, when asked honestly, has the power to redirect an entire life. Big changes start with small decisions that align action with essence. Recognizing the call to something bigger is just the beginning of the journey. The real challenge is embracing uncertainty, trusting the process, and realizing that each obstacle is actually pointing you in the right direction. Sometimes, frustration with routine is like a spiritual alarm, signaling that transformation is near. And have you ever wondered what it would be like to live with more freedom, following an energy that vibrates at a higher frequency? The answer is waiting. The elect don't live under the same energy laws that govern the ordinary world. While many are content cruising through life on autopilot, the elect operate with expansive energy, pulsing with creativity and endless possibilities. This elevated vibration is like trying to capture light in a jar. It wasn't meant to be contained. When placed in routine work environments where order and predictability rule, they feel constant friction. It's not laziness or lack of focus, but the mismatch between their vibrational frequency and the rigid rules trying to shape them. The disconnect happens because the traditional world values security and stability, while the elect are driven by the unknown and the new. Picture a strong river trying to flow through a narrow pipe. That's the energy of someone who, by nature, should be creating, but is stuck in limiting roles. These environments drain the creative spirit and create a feeling of disconnection. The result? Chronic demotivation, suffocated dreams, and a constant urge to break through invisible barriers. All because their spirit craves freedom of expression and innovation. When this repressed energy finally finds a creative outlet, something magical happens. Think about visionaries like Nikola Tesla or artists like Frida Kahlo. They challenged society's limits because they didn't fit conventional norms. Not out of pointless rebellion, but because their gifts demanded a bigger stage. Similarly, today's elect are called to transform their vibrational potential into tangible impact. Identifying this energy and channeling it into projects aligned with their purpose can be as simple as dedicating 15 minutes a day to what truly makes them vibrate. The vibrational difference of the elect also influences how they connect with others. When working in companies or projects that don't resonate with their energy, they often feel isolated. The solution isn't to immediately abandon all structures, but to find or build environments where their frequencies can flourish. Imagine a virtuoso musician forced to play in silence for years. Finding the right stage might mean collaborating with people who share visionary ideals or creating something that pushes the boundaries of what already exists. Creative energy is a precious resource that shouldn't be wasted trying to conform. What happens when someone starts listening to this impulse and acting on it? They discover that external limitations were just illusions. The elect weren't made to live inside boxes. The traditional system, with its rigid rules and suffocating routines, feels like a mismatched puzzle piece for those born with a free and creative spirit. It's like trying to teach a bird to walk when it was born to fly. That's the dilemma of the elect in conventional jobs. The predictable routine, fixed hierarchies, and blind obedience to policies created to standardize people are like shackles restraining their true nature. There's no vitality in following a script that wasn't written by your own hands. The frustration generated by this internal conflict runs deep and real. Yet many spend years trying to ignore this discomfort, believing that conformity is the price to pay for security. This kind of conformity comes at a steep cost. It costs creativity, authenticity, and purpose. Some begin to feel an inexplicable loss of energy and passion, while others face existential crises. But there's a liberating truth that few recognize. The discomfort is actually a compass pointing to where your spirit wants to go. Every moment of frustration is an invitation to reimagine what it means to work. In practice, molding yourself to the system might seem like the only option, but the elect have the power to subvert the rules. This doesn't mean abandoning all structures, but learning to navigate them strategically, like a player who understands the rules of a game only to create their own. For instance, an elect might question the need for endless meetings or propose innovative approaches to solving problems. They redefine dynamics, bringing solutions that old structures could never offer. Think about icons who changed the course of history by challenging norms. Steve Jobs rejected conventionalism and gave the world the iPhone. Martin Luther King Jr. refused to bow to injustices and led a revolution. These examples show that the role of the elect isn't to adapt, but to transform. And transformation begins with small acts of authenticity. Refusing to play the victim of circumstances and instead shaping the system to your purpose is a powerful first step. Every rule was created by someone. Why not be the next person to change the game? The challenge of overcoming fear and self-sabotage is an inevitable test in every elect's journey. Every elect has felt the crushing weight of fear, that inner voice whispering that you're not good enough, that the risk is too big, or that failure is inevitable. But here's the truth. Fear is a powerful illusion, a test designed to separate those who give up from those who keep going. When your heart's racing and your mind's filled with doubts, it's a sign that you're facing something that could change your life. Courage, in that moment, isn't the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Self-sabotage disguises itself as prudence. Maybe it's not the right time. I need more preparation. What if it goes wrong? Sound familiar? These are the invisible chains keeping many of the elect trapped in a life of mediocrity. But you need to recognize that self-sabotage is just fear wearing a mask of rationality. The way out is simple, but challenging. Ask yourself what you would do if fear didn't exist. Then do exactly that, one small step at a time. Consistent action weakens the chains of doubt. Fear is also a compass pointing to where real evolution happens. If you're terrified of putting your talent out there or starting a project that seems too bold, that's a valuable clue. The path of the elect is full of uncomfortable zones that lead to quantum leaps in growth. Look at artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders we admire. They felt fear but used anxiety as fuel. They turned trembling into firm steps because they knew that true paralysis comes from inaction. Now picture a warrior who faces their monsters not with a sword, but with understanding. The monster called doubt isn't your enemy, but a teacher offering lessons in patience and faith. Instead of fighting self-sabotage, welcome it. What is it trying to teach you? When you listen carefully, you'll discover that the biggest limitations are doors waiting to be opened. The key is persistence, the strength built by facing each day with renewed determination. And when you take that first step, something magical happens. Fear diminishes, purpose intensifies, and a luminous clarity reveals the next challenge, cultivating and expanding your unique gifts. The gifts of an elect rarely reveal themselves in comfort. They hide beneath the weight of difficulties and emerge like rays of light in moments of crisis. Many spend years unaware of the potential they carry, simply because they've never challenged themselves enough for it to surface. Self-knowledge is the fertile soil where these talents develop. Think of each experience as a seed. Some might seem insignificant, but when cultivated with discipline and intention, they grow and transform lives. Have you noticed how gifts flourish when they're put in service of something bigger? A wasted talent rots, but when shared, it multiplies. Imagine someone with a natural ability to inspire others. If that capacity stays hidden, the world never feels its impact. But through teaching, leading, or creating, they become a transformative force. Want a practical example? If you have a passion for writing, start sharing stories or insights, even if it's just with a small group. Every master started as an apprentice who dared to put themselves out there. Cultivating gifts requires patience and self-love. It's easy to fall into the comparison trap, believing others have more skills or luck. But each elect has a unique journey. Comparison is the thief of authenticity, and authenticity is ultimate power. The question isn't, how can I be better than others? But how can I be more true to the purpose I was created for? Take time to nurture your abilities. Train, experiment, and fail courageously, because failure is a patient teacher. There's a seductive idea that gifts are fixed talents, but the truth is they evolve. Think of a musician learning new styles or an athlete reinventing themselves. Similarly, your gifts gain new dimensions when you combine them with fresh experiences and knowledge. Invest in learning something new, even if it seems unrelated to your talents. Creativity is born from unexpected intersections. An artist who understands psychology or a speaker who studies philosophy gains multiplied power of expression. As your gifts grow, the next inevitable question arises: how do you transform this purpose into a sustainable source of prosperity? Often, the elect face the dilemma between living their mission and ensuring their livelihood. It's like there's an uncrossable gap between spiritual purpose and material prosperity. But who said you have to choose between the two? The secret lies in seeing your unique abilities as a gift, not just for you, but for the world. Think of an artist transforming their passion for painting into an art therapy studio, or a spiritual teacher creating accessible online courses for people seeking balance. The magic and the money lives where what you love meets what the world needs. To transform your purpose into something tangible, you need to combine spiritual vision with practical action. Your ideas, no matter how enlightened, need to take form in the real world. Think about an elect passionate about sustainability. They could create educational content like videos, ebooks, or consulting services, teaching people how to live more consciously. Another idea would be using platforms like Patreon or Substack to fund social impact projects. It all starts with a clear mindset. What you do has value, and the world is willing to pay for it when they see the transformative impact you offer. But what about when doubt hits? Will people really pay for what I do? This is where the power of communicating your work's value comes in. It's not enough to know your purpose is grand. Others need to see it too. A practical tool for this is creating a value proposition. Answer: what do you solve? For whom? And how? For example, if you're a spiritual coach, you might help young adults overcome existential crises and find purpose in life through one-on-one sessions or mentoring groups. Transforming gifts into livelihood is about putting yourself out there with clarity. And don't forget, even the elect need to learn about finances. Knowing how to price your services, organize your revenue, and invest in your mission is part of the game. There are practical resources that can help, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, or courses on creative entrepreneurship. Plus, align yourself with people or mentors who've already walked this path. They can help you avoid common pitfalls and speed up the process of turning your purpose into a sustainable income source. Practical knowledge is just as spiritual as any meditative practice because it gives you the foundation to fly higher. Remember, transforming purpose into livelihood isn't just about making money, it's about creating a cycle of abundance. When you live your mission, you inspire others to do the same. And this abundance isn't just financial. It's emotional, spiritual, and even relational. You realize that by using your gifts to impact the world, you receive back more than you imagined. Start with simple steps. Reflect on what you love doing, research how it can be monetized, and take consistent action. It's in this exchange of giving and receiving that purpose transforms into prosperity. And speaking of that, how do you think your vibrational energy can amplify this transformation even more? No elect was designed to face their journey in complete isolation. The walk toward purpose is often challenging, and this is where support networks come in as emotional and spiritual anchors. Picture a circle of people who not only understand your vision, but also share similar values. It's not just about having company, it's about creating a web where each thread represents an exchange of ideas, support during tough times, and celebration of victories. These bonds become fertile ground for mutual inspiration and accelerated growth. It's common for the elect to struggle finding these connections at first. Often the feeling of being different can create a barrier. But building a network is like planting a tree. It starts with the seed of a conversation, an invitation to collaborate, or even a simple, "Can I learn from you?" Online groups on platforms like LinkedIn or Discord can be an excellent entry point. Just like in-person events aligned with your purpose. Think spiritual retreats, creative workshops, or themed conferences. Plus, remember that support networks aren't limited to professional or spiritual matters. A genuine friendship, an inspiring mentor, or even a walking buddy can provide crucial support. For example, sharing experiences with someone who's faced similar challenges can illuminate a new path for you. Value every interaction and notice that even small conversations can open huge doors. After all, we're all connected in ways we often can't even imagine. But heads up, quality matters more than quantity. Deep and meaningful connections will always have more impact than an endless list of superficial contacts. Cultivate relationships with intention and presence. Take time to nurture these bonds, whether by sending a message of gratitude, offering help without expecting anything in return, or simply being available to listen. Each act of care strengthens the connection and multiplies the network's power. And when these connections happen, the transformation is tangible. Together, the elect build something bigger than they could alone. It's like a choir. Each unique voice joins to create a powerful melody. But this leads us to an intriguing reflection. How do we redefine success in a world where so many measures are still so individual? What is success anyway? For the elect, this question never had simple answers or universal standards. While the world celebrates titles, figures, and status, the elect seek something deeper, meaningful impact and alignment with purpose. It's like switching from a frantic race to a mindful walk. They understand that true success is the kind that echoes in your soul and resonates in the world. Think about it. What's the point of a full bank account if your heart is empty? Redefining success starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "What can I gain?" ask, "What can I contribute?" This approach completely changes the game. For example, imagine someone with a talent for inspiring people. For them, success isn't just about speaking to thousands, but hearing that their words changed someone's life. Or maybe, for a spiritual entrepreneur, success means creating a product that doesn't just sell, but also promotes transformation. This doesn't mean the elect devalue material success. On the contrary, they recognize its place, as long as it's tied to something bigger. Prosperity is welcome, but as a consequence of living your truth, not as an end in itself. A practical example would be a content creator who, besides reaching millions, uses their platform to educate, inspire, and open meaningful dialogues. Here, impact is just as measurable as numbers. Another essential aspect of this redefinition is authenticity. The elect know that success isn't a mold, but a unique expression of who you are. It's not about fitting into external metrics, but about creating your own map. This requires courage to say no to what doesn't align, and yes to what makes sense, even if it seems risky. The elect's journey is full of choices that go against common sense, but each authentic decision strengthens their connection with purpose. And in the end, the success of the elect is an ongoing journey, not a final destination. Each step, each aligned action is a success in itself. This walk, however, awakens a question many avoid. What are you willing to do today to create the life that reflects your true self? The question remains, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because knowing you were made for more is liberating, but it's action that turns ideas into reality. It's time to look at your life honestly. What choices are you making that keep you stuck? What dreams did you leave behind because you thought they were too big? And you know what's the biggest trap? The idea that you have time, that tomorrow will be different. But if nothing changes, tomorrow will just be a repeat of today. Tough, isn't it? But it's the truth. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready or comfortable to do something different. It just keeps going, and the price of inertia is high. It's your happiness, your freedom, your purpose. So why not change it now? Not tomorrow, not when it's easier, but now. Look at yourself and ask, am I living or just existing? The honest answer might be uncomfortable, but it'll also be your first step toward freedom. And speaking of first steps, how about starting here? This channel was created to be the space you needed to discover paths, learn strategies, and find courage. That push you sometimes lack. Because let's be real, you don't need more empty promises. You need clarity and real support. So subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, like lighting a candle in the darkness. Not because it's a YouTube habit, but because it's what will connect you with something that could change the course of your life. After all, enough of feeling lost, right? See you in the next video. This is just the beginning.